Fati?
Yeah. Hello,
John,
everyone.
sorry, before we start, maybe John, would you do one of the readings as well? If it's they're going to be slide numbers when they come up, so it's number 22.
Are you speaking to me?
Yes, John, yes, if you could.
Okay,
They're very short quotes at the end of the
no,
program.
no problem. I ask only because there's always a lot of Johns around.
Yeah, exactly. That would be
Number
great.
22?
Number 22, yes.
I'd be happy to.
That's great. And then is
Adam or Fate.
Adam or Fatih from the Muslim faith, maybe would you be able to read as well? So then we'll have all the different faiths.
Problem.
Yeah, that would be great. If I know you're doing technical, you know what? If you're doing the technical support, then maybe we'll ask someone else. Would that be?
Sure.
Okay. So Darshana. Hi, Darshana. Maybe would you do a reading as well? We're at the end of our program. We have different quotes, and we thought it would be nice if members of the Interfaith Committee would read. And there's one page, number 23. You'll see the slide. If you could read, it's a short quote.
Oh, absolutely. Not
Thank
a
you so
problem.
much, Darshana. Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank
Sorry
you.
for the interruption, Fatih.
Yeah, no problem.
Fati, take over.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. And I would like to welcome you all to our Third World's Religious Traditions program with the Interfaith Brotherhood Sisterhood Committee of Bergen County. My name is Fatih, and on the behalf of the Peace Island Institute, I would like to express that we are pleased to host this introductory program series. Today's presentation will be on the Bahai, the holiday of Ridvan. Now I'll pass it to our moderator, Father Phil, to give you more details and introduce the presenter.
Well, first of all, for those who are joining us maybe for the first time, this developed as a result of us praying every month, and in some months at the beginning of COVID-19, of praying 2 times a month. And we realized at one point that there were things we didn't know about each other's faith, because we're always either planning a breakfast, planning a dinner, or planning a prayer service. So we came up with this idea of during the time that we're on lockdown with COVID, different religions would take a time, place to share something from their tradition. As Fatih already said, the Bahai community is going to share with us Ridvan. And so I'd like to turn the program over tonight to Sean and Madanya, and I'd ask everybody who is not speaking at this time to mute themselves, and for those who have asked to read when we get to around slide 20, then unmute yourself.
Very good. Thank you, Father Phil. And to those who celebrated Easter, we want to wish you, I hope you had a wonderful Easter. And I'd like to start by thanking members of this Interfaith Brotherhood Sisterhood Committee of Bergen County for these gatherings. They're truly spiritual gatherings, and special thank you to Father Phil for your perseverance, like you said, during the last year, and the creativity that you employed to facilitate the many wonderful gatherings we've had. And Adam and Fatih from the Peace Islands Institute for making it all technically possible. So thank you very much. At our last gathering of the World's Religious Traditions program, our Jewish friends shared the history and significance of Passover. And I'd like to thank Rabbi Dr. Wally Green for sharing the history and significance of Passover. And Gail, who led us into her home, virtually of course, and her beautiful Passover Seder table, and her son and husband for adding to the beauty of that program. It was truly wonderful. And Jan Weiss from the committee as well. At that time, she shared the significance of the 4 questions and remembrance of the bitterness of the Exodus. And they explained that to us all. but they also explain the power of faith to transform that suffering into triumph and victory. And that's what we're going to share today as well. Today, we're continuing this traditions of world's religious programs to share with you, like Father Phil mentioned, the Festival of Ridvan. And the Festival of Ridvan is celebrated by members of the Bahai faith around the world as one of the most important of the Bahai holy days, because it commemorates the beginning of the Bahai faith. The Festival of Ridvan is in a very similar way to what we've seen in the history of other faiths, also a remembrance of exile and suffering, but the power of faith to transform that suffering into victory. For Baha'is, it is a story of the suffering of Baha'u'llah, who was the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith, and the power of faith to transform the occasion of his banishment from tragedy to triumph and victory. The Baha'i tradition for celebrating our holy days is to have gatherings with lots of food, hospitality, sharing of stories, and we also read from the sacred writings of the Baha'i faith and other religious faiths as well. Today, we have a short program to share with you all on the Festival of Ridvan. First, we'll be sharing a very brief summary of who Baha'u'llah is, and it will be read by Mandana, if you could wave to so everyone can see you, okay? And also Francine. For Francine, if you could unmute and say hi so everyone can see you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Francine's from the Newark Baha'i community. And also, Francine will be doing a short chant from the mystical writings of Baha'u'llah as well. And then secondly, within that context, we will share with you a history and significance of the Festival of Ridvan and really the circumstances that surround it. Another member of the Baha'i faith that our interfaith brothers and sisters know, Alton Williams, will also chant a prayer for thankfulness at that time. And Al, if you could say hi so everyone can see you.
Hi, everyone.
Thank
Hi,
you, Al.
everyone.
Thank you. Al's from the Baha'i community of Teaneck, New Jersey, and we have some of our friends from Teaneck here as well. And finally, we'll read just a few short quotes from the sacred writings of Baha'u'llah, and I thank the volunteers in advance for doing that reading. On the slides we've prepared for you, you'll see many photos of Baha'i places from around the world, and please feel free to ask questions at any time as we go through the program. Okay, so now you should be able to see the screen okay? And this first picture is the Baha'i House of Worship in Wilmette, Illinois. Some of you may have visited. I know Father Phil shared a beautiful story of his visit many years ago. Okay, with that, we'll start with the brief history of who Baha'u'llah is.
On November 12th, 1817, Mirza Hussein Ali, Baha'u'llah, was born in Tehran, Persia. Baha'u'llah lived a tumultuous and inspirational life. His faith now followed by millions in every corner of the globe. Baha'u'llah suffered tremendously from bringing the world a peaceful belief system. As a young man, Baha'u'llah became known throughout his country as the father of the poor for his extensive philanthropic work to alleviate hunger and suffering.
Baha'u'llah gradually revealed the mystical teachings and spiritual principles that formed the Baha'i faith, the oneness of humanity, the essential unity of all religions, and the love of one God for the entire creation. Baha'u'llah also taught the equality of men and women, the agreement of science and religion, and the core Baha'i concept called progressive revelation, which links all of the great faiths throughout humanity's history in a chain of continuous guidance from God.
Imprisoned for those beliefs, Baha'u'llah, his family, and his followers suffered through a series of subsequent banishments. Repeatedly exiled by the Ottoman government from Tehran to Baghdad, to Constantinople, to Adrianople, and finally to Akka, a prison colony. Baha'u'llah spent the last 40 years of his life from 1852 to 1892 in prison or under house arrest.
These are the mountains that separate Iran and Iraq, where Baha'u'llah had to pass through as he was exiled.
This photo is from 1907, shows the barracks where Baha'u'llah and his companions were taken after arriving in Akka in 1868.
If thou lovest me, turn away from thyself, and if thou seekest my pleasure, regard not thine own. If thou lovest me, turn away from thyself. If thou seekest my pleasure, regard not thine own. That thou mayest die in me, and I may eternally live in thee. That thou mayest die in me, and I may eternally live in thee. If thou lovest me, turn away from thyself. If thou seekest my pleasure, regard not thine own. If thou lovest me, turn away from thyself. If thou seekest my pleasure, regard not thine own. That thou mayest die in me, and I may eternally live in thee. That thou mayest die in me, and I may eternally live in thee. O Son of Man, O Son of Man. Ooh, 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 ooh.
That's beautiful.
Festival of Ridvan is a celebration of the beginning of the Baha'i faith. It was 158 years ago in 1863 when the prophet and the founder of the Baha'i faith, Baha'u'llah, rode out of Baghdad into an unknown and ultimately lifelong exile and imprisonment. But instead of observing a day of sadness, Baha'is observe this anniversary, called the Festival of Ridvan, as one of the high points of the Baha'i year.
picture that's displayed there is the interior of the tent that actually Baha'u'llah used. It was gifted to him at that time by the Baha'is that were residing in India at that time. It's a beautiful decoration. We thought it would be nice to share it here.
The Ridvan festival commemorates Baha'u'llah's 12-day stay in the Garden of Ridvan outside Baghdad during the final days before his banishment to Istanbul, then known as Constantinople. Baha'is around the globe joyfully observe Ridvan, which means paradise, as a festival of renewal and peace, because it commemorates the beginnings of the Baha'i faith and celebrates the first law of the new revelation, Baha'u'llah's admonition to humanity to cease all warfare. And this is the shrine of Baha'u'llah, located in Baji, near Acre, Israel.
This is the day in which God's most excellent favors have been poured out upon men, the day in which his most mighty grace has been infused into all created things. It is incumbent upon all people of the world to reconcile their differences and with perfect unity and peace abide beneath the shadow of the tree of his care and loving kindness. Baha'u'llah.
My God, my adored one, my King, my desire, what tongue can voice my thanks to thee? I was heedless, thou didst awaken me. I had turned back from thee. Thou didst graciously aid me to turn towards thee. I was as one dead. Thou didst quicken me with the water of life. I was withered. Thou didst revive me with the heavenly stream of thine utterance, which hath flowed forth from the pen of the All-Merciful. O divine providence, all existence is begotten by thy bounty. Deprive it not of the waters of thy generosity, neither do thou withhold it from the ocean of thy mercy. I beseech thee to aid and assist me at all times and under all conditions, and seek from the heaven of thy grace thine ancient favor. Thou art in truth the Lord of bounty and the sovereign of the kingdom of eternity. Baha'u'llah.
Al, I prompted to unmute you. There you go.
Okay. This is a prayer the prayer she just read was a prayer of appreciation, and I'm going to chant it in appreciation for the atrocity that Baha'u'llah and his family went through. And I'm going to try and chant it. When times get rough and my soul has lost its fire, I turn to God, my adored one, my desire. And when times are dark and my candle has lost its flame, I turn to God and call. I call his name, my God, my adored one, my King, my desire. What tongue can voice my thanks, voice my thanks to thee, my God, my adored one, my King, my desire. What tongue can voice my thanks, voice my thanks to thee?
Thank you, Al. That was beautiful.
It's mine. I gotta see that.
We desire but the good of the world and the happiness of the nations, that all nations should become one in faith, and all men as brothers, that the bonds of affection and unity between the sons of men should be strengthened, that diversity of religion should cease, and differences of race be annulled. Baha'u'llah.
Baha'u'llah ultimately suffered 40 years of exile, imprisonment, and torture for his declaration of the peaceful, progressive Baha'i principles.
Because of Baha'u'llah's increasing influence throughout the entire region and the large and growing number of followers attracted to his teachings, the Persian government began pressuring the governor of Baghdad to extradite him in early 1863. Instead, Baha'u'llah received an order to relocate to the capital of the Ottoman Empire, Constantinople, now Istanbul.
Baha'u'llah's first banishment, Tehran in Persia to Baghdad in 1852, and his second from Baghdad to Adrianople were destined to be followed in rapid succession by two more, later in 1863 from Constantinople to Adrianople, Edirne in northwest Turkey, near the Greek border, and then ultimately in 1868 to the prison colony of Akka, where Baha'u'llah spent the rest of his life as a prisoner.
The weeks in the spring of April 1863, before Baha'u'llah's short stay in the Ridvan garden, had been tragically sorrowful ones for his friends and family. Informed of the government's banishment order, which would remove Baha'u'llah from Baghdad and tear him away from most of them forever, they mourned and lamented. And now, on the day of departure, they felt enormous sadness and despair. A large contingent of approximately 75 people accompanied Baha'u'llah on his 4-month trip to Constantinople, but a huge group of family, friends, and followers stayed behind.
One eyewitness, a follower of Baha'u'llah, writes his account of Baha'u'llah's departure from Baghdad, when thousands of followers had come to tearfully bid farewell. On the 12th day in the afternoon, they went from us under the escort of the Turkish soldiers to an unknown destination. Although Baha'u'llah had commanded the friends not to follow them, I was so loath to let him go out of my sight, and I ran after them for 3 hours.
He saw me and getting down from his horse, waited for me, telling me with his beautiful voice, full of love and kindness, to go back to Baghdad and with the friends to set about our work, not slothfully, but with energy. Be not overcome with sorrow. I am leaving friends I love in Baghdad. I will surely send to them tidings of our farewell. Be steadfast in your service to God, who doeth whatsoever he willeth. Live in such peace as will be permitted to you.
We watched them disappear into the darkness and sinking hearts, for their enemies were powerful and cruel. Weeping bitterly, we turned our faces towards Baghdad, determined to live according to his command.
This is a short clip that will play. It's a song about the Garden of Ridvan by Dan Seals. He has a beautiful voice. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it okay. And it was sang at the centenary of Baha'u'llah's passing in 1992 at the Bahai World Congress, where thousands of Baha'is had gathered.
Gathered now at the mystic hour in the garden of Ridvan, circling around his blessed tent in the garden of Ridvan, and the nightingales sing, and the souls are on fire, as the crimson-colored ark sets sail in the presence of the best beloved of the world, in the garden of Ridvan. The fragrance of the rose is strong in the garden of Ridvan. The friends are silent, struck with awe in the garden of Ridvan, as the Ancient of Days lifts a myriad veils of light, and the new creation sings with joy in the presence of the best beloved of the world, in the garden of Ridvan. Lord of names ascends his throne in the 12 days of Ridvan. Approach him now and quaff your fill in the garden of Ridvan. Everlasting life from the hands of his grace, bestowed upon all humankind in the presence of the best beloved of the world, in the garden of Ridvan.
Baha'is celebrate the anniversary of this exile because Baha'u'llah's declaration marks the time when he transformed the occasion of his banishment from tragedy to triumph.
The festival of Ridvan, the eve of Baha'u'llah's departure from Baghdad, is commemorated each year by Baha'i communities around the world, not as a time of sorrow or regret, but as a festival of great joy. The festival of Ridvan stands as a demonstration of the power of the manifestation of God to create good from evil, bring forth light from darkness, and win victory from seeming defeat.
Jyoti, you're
Yes, sure.
muted.
No, I didn't. I unmuted. Okay, there's.
Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. Deal ye with one another with utmost love and harmony, with friendliness and fellowship. Baha'u'llah.
Thank you. You can go ahead, John. Thank you.
It's me, okay. Blessed is he who preferred his brother before himself. Baha'u'llah.
In the garden of thy heart plant, not but the rose of love. Baha'u'llah.
So powerful is the light of unity that it can illuminate the whole earth. Baha'u'llah.
Thank you, Father Phil. And this is a picture of the dear members of this interfaith program. The last time we had that large gathering, it truly is illuminating, isn't it, to see all the different faiths gathered in friendliness and fellowship. And thank you. This, friends, concludes our prepared program. I'd like to thank our readers, Francine and Mandana, and for Francine and Al's beautiful voice for sharing that with us. Thank you, everyone, for spending your time to allow us to share this story with you. I see Teresa, our friends. Hi, Teresa. It's so nice to see you. Rhonda and Pat, it's good to see you. We serve with them on the weekends. Hi. Thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm going to hand the program back to Father Phil. Let me see.
Well, it is a true joy to finally have a lot of your religion explained to us all, and to have us see with our eyes some of the places that Baha'u'llah went through, and through his suffering and pain, how he never lost his vision to bring about peace and unity. The next time we gather will be on April the 27th, and that will be the Muslim community sharing with us about Ramadan. And then soon after that will be the Jain community sharing with us some practicalities about the Jain faith and their practices. And that will be on the 18th of May. Somewhere in there, you will be getting a request from me for us to come together to pray again. For while we have all of these instructions and all are going through our holidays and holy days and times of celebration, we need to continue to pray Somebody said at the beginning of this, before you all assembled, that the pandemic is soon over. If you remember last year, we said that when it was soon over. And a year plus later, we are still waiting for God's fullness of grace to remove all the effects of the pandemic. Let us not lose heart. Let us take the example of the Baha'u'llah and be people who can persevere even in tragedy. Thank you all for attending today. And Fatih, if you would sign off for us now so that we may all go about our daily events. But let's all unmute ourselves for a minute.
Yeah.
And let's give a round of applause to Sean for doing this for us.
And the readers, thank you.
It was beautiful.
Very nice.
Thank
Very-
you.
Very amazing. That
Well,
Francine and Alton, you know what? You always bring the soul back to the whole thing.
Yes.
And I don't know you, Francine, but you sang so beautifully, so beautifully. It was really a blessing. And to, it was beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gail.
Yes.
And to hear all of the brothers and sisters participating.
Yes, that was special. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Gail.
Having gone to Akko and walked, every time I take a train from Tel Aviv to Naharia, and I pass by the, the very famous Haifa Bahai Gardens that I've known about all my life. It's very exciting. And when I walk the Bahai Gardens that are newly renovated in Akko, it washes over you. It's such a peaceful, beautiful place. You can't help but think how beautiful the people are. And, I feel so blessed that it's in our country of Israel. I feel so blessed. And when I came back from Israel last time, a year ago, February, it was just a few days before we had our interfaith breakfast. And the embrace that I got from my Baha'i brothers and sisters for having just returned, it was so beautiful.
Yes, that's special.
Thank you, Gail.
All right.
Everyone, thank you, Tom. Thank you, Mandana. Father,
Thank you, Jyoti.
very nicely done.
Love to all of you and look forward to seeing you again soon.
And
Very
love
nice.
to Bahi.
Thank you,
to Bahi,
Sean. Thank you,
Alton.
Mandana.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Look
you,
for
Sean.
emails.
Thank you, Mandana. Thank you. I'm
Okay.
done. Thank you.
Thank
Sure.
you for joining us today for the World's Religious Traditions program. And we would like to thank to Sean, Montana, Francine, and Alton for their presentation on the holiday of Ridvan. And we all thank we celebrate their, special day and for the Baha'i friends and community members. Okay. Hope to see you next time again. Yeah.
Thank you, Fatih.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, goodbye, Mandana. Goodbye, Sean.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Vicky.
Bye.
Wonderful presentation.
Thank you, John.
Beautiful.
Thank you, John, for reading. I appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Mandana. Bye,
Bye-bye,
Sean.
everybody.
And thank you, Adam, by the way.
Thank you, Adam.
Yes, Adam,
There
too.
he is.
That's right.
Thank you, everyone. It was
Bye-bye.
great. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Sean, Mandana. Have
Bye. Bye, everybody.
a great
Bye,
day.
everyone.
See you next
Love
time.
to everybody.
Bye, Rosemary.